Beautiful. There's a hidden missing step too, which is to make it full screen. Alrighty, we'll do a really quick intro, and then we'll get right into the first talk. So, yes, community announcements. CG, so that's this company. We're looking for a senior full stack engineer. I'll talk about that in a second. Always looking for volunteers for tech talks. That there is a QR code to the PHP Australia Slack. Please talk to me about doing a talk if you'd like, or you can come up to me and talk here. Yeah, moving away from meetup.com, as I mentioned quite a few times. This potentially is the last meetup that we'll have on meetup.com. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll do one more at the start of next year, potentially. But if you haven't already signed up at eventy, please do so now. It is really good to see. I think this event had the highest number of RSVPs on eventy versus meetup. So things are moving in the right direction. Just to be worried, there's still a few people RSVPing on the meetup.com. So yeah, if you're not aware, meetup.com costs a lot of money, like a huge amount of money. That money would be better invested in other things. Yeah, eventy is free, so please use that. Laracon AU next month. So I don't know how many people here are going to Laracon AU. Oh, quite a few, more than last time. Well, more than the hands that went up last time. And I think Jade is going as well. She couldn't make it tonight, unfortunately. Yeah, so looking forward to that. If you have not bought a ticket, you still can. It's $600 currently. Does include a few social events and a T-shirt, I think, still. So really, really fun couple of days in Brisbane. No, this is back to front, isn't it? It's back to front. It should be like this. Yes. All right. So next meetup will be next year. So this is the last meetup of this year. Probably we'll do it in like early February next year. Tonight, so we've had the pizza. Apologies. We'll dig into our first session very shortly. I have really just a bit of a lightning talk at the end, so we're gonna take very long, and then we'll have the usual wrap up and networking. Already discussed that, so yeah, on to the first talk. Nigel, if you wanna potentially connect the HDMI. Yeah. Oh, I'd be more than happy. Yeah, in fact, sorry, the main thing I forgot to say. So we are looking for a senior full stack engineer. So if you're a fan of Laravel and Vue.js, or at least have some decent amount of experience, yeah, please come and talk to me. And I think at the start of next year, hopefully we can also start hiring some juniors, which is, I know a few people would be very excited about that. I don't know exactly when that'll happen, but for sure, keep an eye out. If you're not on the PHP Australia Slack, this would be a really good opportunity to join. And it has a jobs channel. So for sure, if you are looking for this kind of job opportunities, you should be looking there. And if you're wondering how to get to the PHP Australia Slack, it is in the description of the meetup itself. So in the description of the meetup events down the bottom. We just need to present. And
I need to join the.
no, it should just work. Oh wait, sorry.
I need to join the meet.
No, you can plug in the HDMI. I'm gonna stop and start. Yeah, beautiful. And I'll leave it to you.
Oh, look at that. Where is that? Is that up there? Is that going up there? No. Is it to the left? Is it to the right? Sorry, let me work out where that screen is. Great. All right. Cool. One more thing to open, and I should be good to go for the moment. But I might have to.
Actually, I need to get some people downstairs. I'm gonna hand you back the mic.
Oh, okay. Sure. One moment, everybody. It's quite loud. Let's see if I can maximize that. Here we go. Here we go. Yay! 11. Wow, it almost looks like a. Hello. How you doing, everybody?
I love those complete settings.
Wobbly windows are the best. Wobbly windows are the best. All right. My name's Nigel James. This feels very reverby, but that's okay. I'll cope. Hello to everybody who's online. Hello to everybody in the room. So tonight I'm going to talk about Metabase, which is a business intelligence solution. Hands up if you know what that means. One person. Hands up if you're not going to put your hand up no matter what I ask. All right. Fantastic. It's not necessarily a PHP product, because it's definitely not. But it's a super simple way to get basic analytics out of your SaaS product. It's got, like, it's not perfect, but given that you can run it for free, that's always a good 80% of the way. Okay, let's see what we've got here. Let's see if these sync with what's over there. Wouldn't that work well? The demo gods are with us so far. So somebody, the CFO, somebody in the C-suite comes down and said, what were our sales last quarter? And if you don't have some sort of, I mean, I know you've got a database and you can run an SQL query, but that means you've got to stop and almost like write up a ticket, create a report for what are the sales last quarter. I certainly, that's not the spot to stand, either stand here or further in. All of a sudden, some third party came to us and said, in the context of running a Laravel app, and we had lots of records, we need to provide this data to this government organisation. They need to know X, Y, and Z, or the CFO needs to know A, B, and C. And so, geek that I am, I just started data grit. Go, oh yeah, that's fine. I know how those tables are related. Wrote out a query, generated some separated files, put it into a spreadsheet, tidied it up, and that's all well and good. If it's a kind of a one-off or something you have to do every month, and it was kind of one of those things that wasn't important enough, because then I saved all the queries that I needed and I just run each one, do export, spreadsheet, tidy up, hand over. And so it wasn't a massive pull off my time. But there can be the point, we can come to the point where someone coming to you every other day saying, with their little ad hoc question that they want answered, who's the best salesman? Who are the top 5 salesmen? Who are the top sales firemen per state? These sorts of things. And if you don't have a system to answer that quickly in your Laravel app, I'll say that because we're not at a Ruby meetup, then you're going to have to do what I did and write your own queries. And for some things we created, form requests and filters and, all the kind of stuff that you would normally do to controller, views, whatever, to generate a nice looking report, especially if it was for customer facing people or even some of our users. Just make it look pretty. But that necessarily pulled you away from the core business of what your app is, or what my app is, or was, of certain features. So the reason why Metabase is it because it gives you a whole stack for free, and free as in beer and free as in open source free, whatever the other thing is. So basically, oh, come on, clickety click. That button work? Yeah. So somebody wants a custom report. That means you've got to write custom SQL, and it could get complicated because they want to sum things, and you've got subqueries, averages, and because there are nulls, you've got to do a subquery to get that, and then you've left join, right join, and it takes away from feature development, which is all that I've been saying so far. Now, business intelligence, for the one person who put up their hand, you can stop listening for this next 5 seconds. It's basically just, well, I say analytical queries, but that probably doesn't answer the question either. It's basically just using the SQL bits like summaries, sums, you know, what are the total salaries that we're paying? What are the average salary for all the developers? Why are we paying them that much? They're not doing any work. What's the max salary for all the developers? Who are the top 10 salaries for all our developers? Right, sack them, they're no good. So all the kind of information, all the kind of business information that somebody who's in charge of the company, the C-suite, CEOs, CXOs, CFOs, all those guys, they want to know those questions. And Stephen Covey once said, begin with the end in mind. So it's good to think about, if you're building a SaaS app, what are the outputs that I want? What will tell me if this is going up and to the right or down and to the right? You know, winning, losing. Unless you're losing weight, then that's that's the better one. All right. How does Metabase help? Well, it basically saves you from writing all those, either doing it just hacking in your data grip client, or hacking on the terminal with MySQL, MSQL client, or PSQL, or God forbid Oracle, or MS SQL, whatever, and basically, like I said, gives you a whole lot for free and gives you a very held hand for writing what turn out to be complex queries for summing up things. Now, let me just, because the next slide says installing, and you sneakily saw that. So let me just not do that one. Oh, that's a separate thing. I can't just change. Well, sorry, just give me a second. I'll keep this. Oh, need to put this down.
It's still there, but what's the word for it? JP? Outside right now.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that one. Well, why do that full screen? All right, so this is Metabase. So let me just. Come on. Anyway, all right. Let me just. I think it doesn't like that one. Anyway, so this is metabase.com. This is where you go to get started on your Metabase journey. And I thought I had, yes, I think I do. That's going to be in front, isn't it now? I go to the next slide. Yep, got a little build here. All right, so you've got 3 options. So that's the site. Now let me click this one and, oh my goodness. Where's that? There we go. Click. Oh man, come on. Minimize. All right. Click. All right, so there's a Docker container. So super easy Docker container. You just go there, or it gives you the instructions, Docker pull, blah, 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 Metabase/Metabase, sucks it down. You know, if you're into Docker, which I assume most of the room understands that word. And that's what they say for trialing or, you know, testing it locally, you know, with your developers and whatever, recommended way. And I would also heartily recommend that as well. There is an alternate way, which is what I've done. Clever me. And that's why I had that other tab open. You can clone the repository and kind of do a build, and or maybe, no, sorry, I think it's a, you basically download a Java jar, and then this lovely long Java command to start the jar. Everybody loves those. And so that's what I've done. I've set up a couple of VMs, one for a Postgres database and one for a Metabase container, kind of a little bit like pretending this is the cloud here and my computer's running, you know, to EC2 instances or whatever your Azure equivalents are. Obviously, the alternate that they would like, that they recommend, is use their cloud offering. Send them $85 per month. That's, I think, 5 users, because we just did that for a little bit and then decided that no one was actually using it, and we just thought it might have been a good idea, and so we signed up, paid for, you know, did our 2-week trial, didn't use it, and then didn't use it for 2 months. So I think that's how cloud SaaS things make their money. Anyway, that's also a very good option, because it's obviously takes all the administrative overhead off, and it pays them money so they can build the thing. Happy days. Now, this is the bit that gets tricky, because the demo gods, although they've been smiling on me so far, have given me an issue with my local Metabase system, and I can't log in. I thought I'd saved the password, I thought I'd made it simple, but it's refusing to log me in. So I can either, given that the rest of the thing is just saying thank you and here are a couple of references, which I'll just show, and you can go, wow, yeah, thank you. Woo! There's one for photos and images, and there's a few other links in this slide deck, which I'll make available. So the rest of the talk was going to be actually walking through this to see what you can generate. So thankfully I took this screenshot so I can talk to this screenshot for a second. Good question, Jamie. Well done. Except I can't do it here. I've got to. That's right. Can I do this? Okay. Now, this is great. That one with my minimized windows.
Yeah, presenting. Don't get in more seats.
Yeah, docs, because there's pretty little. No, it's bad presenting. I would get immediately failed by every. I could just blame my tools. What am I looking for? Demo? I can't even. Where's my mouse? No, that's not my mouse. That's the mouse in the video. Oh, it's off to the left, off to the right. All right. I'd made basically what I'll tell you what I did, because it was really exciting. So this is me not being able to log in. Happy days. Yeah, but I'm the admin, and that's the admin account, and it tells you to go and talk to the admin. So yeah, anyway, let me just. See Metabase in action. That's a. Is it? Oh, well, yeah. So yeah, one of the things that I did was, yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, that's you could go and watch that, and that would be my demo. Alternatively, I could let Max do his spiel, and I could come back once I sort it out, and give it the whole 9 yards. So why don't we do that? You right with that, Max? He's. Yeah, that's fine. Sorry.
Alrighty, quick change of presenters. This may be a good time to grab more pizza and/or beer, if you're so inclined. Yeah. You wouldn't believe it's actually Windows or Mac, but who wants to use that, right? All right. But moving on from the Windows, I'll give you guys one more minute. Looks like people are grabbing necessities of life. It's on the. What if I find it for you? Can you give me one extra pizza?
Yeah, so eventually is yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh no, yeah.
Well, either or will be there.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
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 Sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh. All right. Ruben learns about how to use the internet. All right. I will start slowly, and best of luck to Nigel. He has until I finish to reset his password. Okay, so this is a presentation I gave at work like maybe 6 weeks ago or 7 weeks ago, which is fine because nobody here was there. These guys hadn't started yet. There's some new starters from CG. Very good that they're here. So anyway, since I made this presentation, already some things have changed, which is, I guess it's expected given how quickly things are moving, but I'll definitely call it out. So yeah, what is this presentation about? Yeah, the PHP AI ecosystem. Why do we care about AI? Well, ideally to improve some kind of productivity somewhere. And what is productivity anyway? I will note that the Laravel homepage says something like this: build and ship software with tools crafted for productivity. It's very interesting. Yeah, so the question is, who's doing what? So I'm going to start from like very basic tooling, go to the more complex stuff. So this thing has been here for quite a while. It's like a kind of like a clone of the ChatGPT interface, but for sure you can hook it up to any LLM. And it's just a simple package to do just that. So for sure it does exist. I'm not sure how useful it is, but if you want to play around with something, that's a good place to start. MCP packages. There are a lot of MCP packages now. There's a really, really big MCP package for PHP called PHP MCP. They have their own kind of Laravel wrapper for it. There's a separate package, which is just the Laravel MCP server, which has slightly more GitHub stars. But as you will see, there is a new MCP package from Laravel themselves. But before we get there, I highly recommend you have a look at some of these projects just for the sake of having a look at them. Why? Because you'll pick up a lot of interesting tidbits, a lot of interesting best practices. So for example, this is with rules file of one of the Laravel MCP packages, which is very interesting. So you can kind of use it as inspiration for your own projects. Yeah, speaking of AI style files or AI guide files, does anybody, who here knows what this is, by the way? Does this require its own explanation? There's a lot of blank stares. Okay, so let's say you're using some kind of local, or not local, but let's say you're using some kind of AI tooling for code generation. What you may or may not have noticed is that the code that it generates is often maybe not exactly how you might write it. So there are rule files, like every AI tool has them, and you can basically specify like a whole bunch of things that you want it to do, right? Like put this kind of thing here, make this, like use this format, use this style, I don't know, use this convention or whatever else. You can get quite complex with it. And yeah, lately this has been getting a lot of traction. So this was released only, I think, 2 months ago. It's basically Sparty's like PHP guidelines for AI. And it's very, very comprehensive. You can find it on their website. I actually kind of used that as the basis for our own style, like AI guidelines. And it has proven very effective. I only started using this like maybe a month and a half ago. But yeah, you can see the difference like immediately. So you just have to do way less cleanup after the AI code generation. So I highly recommend you do this, something like this if you're not using it. Like at the very least, it's gonna save you a lot of time. Symfony. So Symfony is taking this components and bundles approach to AI. So essentially, I guess, kind of in line with the Symfony motto, they want to create these building blocks, which you can use in your own projects to build some kind of AI application. So this is getting away from the tools and more towards, yeah, what can you use to build your own AI applications? And as you can see, they already have like quite a lot of things here. Some of these things, they may be quite standard, but they're kind of releasing more and more. This is just the initial amount. This is another project called Neuron AI. So this is kind of similar approach to what Symfony is doing. So it's kind of like an AI framework. It's been getting a lot of momentum. Again, it has a lot of different packages which you can use to build some kind of AI applications. Very interestingly, I found this piece of commentary, which is, yeah, developers who had resigned themselves to learning Python, yes, can you imagine anything worse, for AI development, suddenly found themselves building sophisticated AI agents in their native language, leveraging decades of PHP expertise. So for sure, it's, yeah, we're kind of moving away from this kind of thing that you need to do Python to do AI. Like for sure, the PhD researchers that are creating the models, yeah, they're probably using their own kind of tooling. But when it comes to actually using AI models, as in models that already exist, to create AI applications on top of it, yeah, there's much better solutions. I'm just gonna close my Slack. I don't know what that was. Yeah, so there's kind of more and more tools becoming available this year. In particular, this year, I feel like so many tools and packages have come out. Yeah, which brings me to the most important question. What is Laravel wasting their money on? They raised a lot of money, like $60 million. I feel like they're kind of a little bit late to the party, as in even Symfony had their AI components out before them. So for sure, Laravel has been kind of prioritizing like cloud and observability products, which I guess has been their strategy for a long time. But yeah, if you looked a little bit earlier this year, like around Q2 of this year, they were advertising on their jobs website quite a lot of AI focused roles, which was really interesting. So obviously it was going to lead to something. And this is the first thing that was announced at Laracon US, and it's called Laravel Boost. So this, I think, is kind of similar-ish to Claude Code, but I guess with a Laravel native spin. And yeah, you can use it as an AI starting kit. So a new version Laravel, you can have different starting kits for different kind of projects. And it is a first-party project, meaning it's built by the Laravel team themselves. And yes, it does give you some CLI tools to do code generation and things like that. More recently, I think in September, I can't remember, or maybe late July, they released this thing, which is the Laravel MCP. I think it was September. I could be wrong. So yes, as I mentioned previously, there's already a number of MCP packages for PHP and Laravel. Excuse me. I have been a bit sick, by the way. Sorry, my voice might sound funny. But anyway, there's a whole bunch of MCP packages already. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, Laravel decided there needs to be another one. And but yeah, for sure, they have released their own MCP package. It is documented really well on the Laravel website, the Laravel documentation website. I had a look at it. I'm not sure like what exact features it has over the top of the other ones. I think it actually probably has less to begin with, but yeah, they probably do have full-time people working on it. So you would imagine that eventually it will probably supersede other packages and features and functionality, but for now, that's just a theory. Yeah, which brings me to the Laravel Claude Code setup. So this, as far as I understand, is made by like somebody working at Claude, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And this is like quite a different approach. So this is like they've taken everything, every kind of AI tool imaginable, and just put it into one package or start a project. And this is that, right? So if you want like to start with Laravel and you want every kind of AI integration for like development tooling, this is perfect. Yeah, it has GitHub integration, Context7, Webfetch, Figma integration, which I'm going to show more of in the next slide. A whole bunch of other stuff. Really, really cool if you just really want to explore the possibilities of AI in terms of like code generation, design generation, debugging, like all of these things. Yeah, probably this is the best project. And yeah, this is an example of how you might be able to use the Figma generation. This is actually all within the CLI of that project, so you don't have to go anywhere else. It's all part of the same build. Yeah, and it's like, okay, analyze the design, extract the design system, create components, generate admin interface. And this is all like hooked up to Figma's AI, which I'm not sure if it uses Claude or not. I have no idea how it works exactly under the hood, but for sure, like with this one project, you can control multiple different third-party vendors and generate all sorts of things. So, I mean, I think that's pretty cool. I'm not a designer, so for me, you know, having a design made with AI sounds great. And then Context7. Has anybody heard of Context7? Yes? Okay. Well, at least some people have. All right. Don't you just hate it when you ask AI to generate some code and then it generates that code for like an older version of the framework or package, or it's like somehow incorrect, randomly incorrect? So yeah, Context7 is like a community project which is meant to fix this problem. So every kind of major framework, package, anything, they submit their documentation and examples into a repository which is controlled by them. And then you hook this up to your local development environment as an MCP server, and it will feed it all the context, right? So for example, if I say, okay, we're using Laravel version, I don't know, 11, and we need to generate something which is like, specifically it's going to work in this version of Laravel, it will know that context and it will generate it precisely as per the Laravel docs for that version. Same thing for like anything else, like Next, Vue, I don't know, Axios, whatever. Every imaginable library. Well, not every imaginable library, but I think the next slide has just how many. There's 28,439 as of like whatever 5 weeks ago. But as you can see, it has a lot of first-party packages and a lot of third-party packages as well. So anybody can submit documentation and examples. If you're a library author, you can submit, you know, as many examples as you want, so you can be really thorough, and that will mean that any AI tool that uses Context7 is going to generate really, really good, you know, generated code because it has a lot of up-to-date examples. So this is very easy to hook up to whatever AI tooling you have. It's just an MCP service, so yeah, I would highly recommend that you use it. if your AI tool doesn't use it already by default. Yeah, takeaways. Nigel, I hope you're close. I'll try and drag this out. Okay, so what are the takeaways? So in between, like the start of this year, already to the middle of this year, there's already a ton of new things that popped up, or maybe they kind of vaguely existed last year, but it was like, super alpha, like almost nobody used it, but they've blown up in popularity this year. There's a lot of like kind of like starter templates, which are meant to be AI native. And yeah, Laravel has their own first-party ones now. Yeah, and you can discover a lot of useful tooling just by looking at these projects as well, right? Because if it's an AI project, it's very likely they're also using AI to build that AI project, or at least somehow supplemented. So you can look at their AI guidelines or whatever else, and it's very, very useful. And you can see what other MCP servers they're using. For example, like you can have you can look a lot into how they're doing in terms of their development workflow. Yeah, Symfony and Laravel clearly taking very, very different approaches, but I feel like this probably speaks to the ethos of both projects. So Laravel is definitely focusing on this kind of like big first-party packages, whereas Symfony is kind of more building different kind of components, different building blocks, and you can use them in your project. You can kind of mix and match them how you like. Definitely very different approaches. So Symfony is kind of more going down the infrastructure route. Laravel going down the, use this one thing to solve all your problems route. And yeah, overall, there's different scales of packages or projects for different scales of the task that you have. So pick something that's really suitable for what you want to do. And yeah, well, that's something CG specific. But actually, I was told that this is wrong. We can use any AI tool. It just has to be through our Vertex. Yeah, I guess this is it. Thank you. Yes, I was hoping there'd be a lot of questions, actually. I don't know. Yes?
So the neuron AI package, I've been talking to a lot of people about Python, and they were talking about how the C components, like packages, sort of work like Golang, where you can bring in a lot of C, or you can bring in, to get the Golang, you can bring in C packages and put them into Python and pretty much just be like, this is what I want, and it brings back the data, and it all sort of works. They all sort of fit in together like building blocks. I'm wondering how that would work with the PHP, whether there's some sort of maybe a compilator or something which you could push as part of maybe compiles down so that you can use these C libraries, especially for things like CUDA, if you're talking directly through to the NVIDIA chips and stuff. I mean, is that how low level it is, or is it more like for making an MCP package?
I wouldn't look only to these two extremes, but it's definitely more like making an AI application. You wouldn't be talking to CUDA as a PHP developer, surely, because then you're training models or something, right? I don't think it's that low level. No, it's
more for like having a service for talking to OpenAI.
not. I wouldn't say that. I would say any model, right? Like imagine you train your own model and you have the model. I think that's the starting point. If you need to train the model, yeah, I'm not sure you would use this as far as I'm aware.
There is PHP does have a native ability to all yeah, I'm sure it'll be possible. Yeah. And so the like those HTML packages, the one that's like.
Please continue.
Yeah. That's sort of like running training. Yeah. Okay. That's not. And those packages do use. Okay, cool. Do all that. I'll have a lead on Panther and see how it goes. Yeah. Sweet.
Questions? More questions? Do you have your hand raised? Yeah. All right. Yes.
This talk was obviously for homogeneous staff. So sounds like you're encouraging your staff to experiment with PHP, AI, LLMs. Are you finding that that's like, are you finding people in your organization have taken it up, and is that helping with output? Is it increasing output? Is it making following worse or better?
It's definitely increasing my output. I don't know. I don't know about everyone else. Yeah, I think just like any tool, it's probably as good as the person using it. And so I wouldn't expect, like, imagine you have like a team of developers and they start using AI tools today. You wouldn't expect that in 1 week they would be masters of that tool and they would be like super productive, right? It's like, it's a learning journey. So the way we like to describe it is we're kind of on the journey to learning how to most productively use it most efficiently. But I think that takes time, and I think it takes practice, and it takes a lot of knowledge exchange between people as well. Like people, I guess, passing around information or making others aware, like, hey, I tried this use case, it works really well, or I tried this use case, it's not working well. Why? Can it be improved? Maybe it's just it's a bad example of how to use AI. So I would say you can't really expect people to become really proficient with it immediately, but like for sure you have to start somewhere and you have to keep pushing it. You have to keep pushing people in that direction so they kind of get more and more used to it and they kind of discover the best way to use it. Cool. I might give the microphone back.
Thank you. Yeah, certainly a massive area, no doubt, at the moment. I think if I can give you 2 cents, Jamie, on my take on your question, is I think a lot of what Max showed is kind of like consumer AI that users would use to get AI answers out. But you're kind of talking about generating your own models and getting right down into the heart of C to do CUDA stuff and that sort of thing that you do with Python. And as suggested, yeah, there are interrupt ways you can call into C stuff as well. All right. I have reworked the demo by just dropping the database and starting Metabase again. And so what it's going to let us do is generate something like this, and we'll do more, and we'll do it together. Ha ha! So you'll see the whole approach. Right. So I think that's full screen. So happy days. All right. So this is can everybody see that at the back of the room? Let me give you a bit of zoom. Zoomy zoom. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Just tell me when to stop. Look good? Happy? Great. I almost need it that big to see it from here. All right. So basically what I've done, just to give you the background, is I've set up 2 virtual machines inside this thing. I'm using Multipass, which is a Ubuntu virtual machine thing that just creates more Ubuntu virtual machines. So it's a little bit like eating your thing, but it has a nice UI and the command line's pretty good. So I just thought I would try it for this. And so I've got a Metabase VM, which is doing nothing at the moment. Postgres, which seems to be busy for some reason, though not much is talking to it at the moment. That's the problem with databases. They cost you a fortune when you run them in the cloud. So that's what we're talking to. I've got a, no, you don't need to see that. That's boring. All right, so back to here. So let's get started. Oh, no, sorry, the other thing that I want to show you is data grip. So again, let me double tap, 2 taps, enter presentation mode. That's what I want to do. Oh, look at that. So just to show you that I've actually got databases here, and let me refresh that, and it should 156 rows. So this is one of the databases. I did install several. So this is the install process. So we talk English. So it's quite a nice, I'm just going to have to type. Again, I need my Madonna mic, Max. I'm disappointed with the equipment here. Let me not be too accurate. James, thank you. Part one pass. Oh, yes. It's okay. Be cover genius today. Password. Simple. Oh, simple one. Oh, too common. Fine. I'll use the suggested one. Possibly. Quite possibly. Update. Yes, that's saved. Woohoo! Don't really care. That's just their analytics for their own analytics. And we're going to say Postgres, and we're going to try go here. Oh, and this is painful when I'm in presentation mode. How do I get out of that? Oh, there's a menu here. Haha, that's it. File, new, no, file, view. Database Explorer, let's try that one. Haha, here we go. All right, so these are all the databases I have. Yay. I'm just doing this because, oh, come on. That one. Properties. So I want this. So it makes filling out that form a whole lot easier. Go away. You're happy now. All right. So database name is Postgres. No. Let's just grab the world happiness, I think. Oh, no, sorry, employees. Let's do employees. We'll do as many as like employees. Username is Postgres. I do know this password, so I made it. Wall, yeah, let's go connect. Yeah, they want more analytics. Finish. Yay, take me to Metabase. Hooray, good to see you, N. Oh, it's hard to do. All right, so it's already, I called it Postgres, not employees as a name. That's fine. So we can see down here, you can connect to several databases. It has a sample database. Let's just go back home and look at a summary of salary. Is that what I had on the demo slide that I took? Yeah, so here's a quick look at salary. That's what we'll achieve by pressing this button. It does take a moment, but it will basically generate a nice summary of that salary table, which has several salary entries in it. So it's saying, okay, so it's basically done a sum of that whole salary that it decided was a good thing to do. No one's added any salaries lately. It's going to do, wow, that's a lot of salary entries. And then it's slowly building up these other views, if you like. So the timestamps in here are basically, I mean, this is a first guess. You click a hot button and it's generated some stuff. Basically, this table has an employee ID, a salary, when that salary started applying and when that salary stopped applying. So there are multiple entries in that table for each employee ID. There's a primary key, employee ID. So there could be employee ID 1, started on the 1st of January, got to the 31st of January, that finished his probation. On the 1st of February, got a pay rise of 10%, say. So different new figure. So this is kind of just a first guess at what you might like there, but it's done a nice little distribution. Males getting paid more than females. No comment. But obviously, perhaps the males are taking, greedy males are taking some more of these roles than these roles. It's got, I think it might have, did I say a birth date or something? Oh, employee birthday year. That's weird. You'd probably want to drill into that. Anyway, from just clicking one button and like 3 minutes ago, having not got any look at our table, we've got all of a sudden a pretty good look. Why don't we go back and try and do something? Let's just start at the database, go to this Postgres, and all right, let's look at employee, and there's probably, we could perhaps do something on birth date to see how, visualization. So here's the thing. So you can basically do a summary, which is effectively a SQL that's saying filter the rows. So where, let's imagine that's your where clause, or summarize, that's your group by, max, salary or min salary or top 5 or group by date or those sorts of things. An editor, which is kind of fancy. So you've got a very nice little visual editor. I mean, you can imagine coding this yourself in React and whatever to be completely dependent on every underlying database that's possible. And I mean, this is free, so why wouldn't you use it? And there's even an SQL view. So this is obviously it's not doing a select star. I mean, it's doing a Postgres database. So there's a database and then a schema. So it's employees, employee ID, and it's all quoting them properly. So it's very proper SQL. I would never write my SQL like that. That's kind of ridiculous. Who's going to put all those quoted things? I mean, it's only needed if you put a space in your thing. Who would do that? Interesting, it's put a limit for the number of records in the table, which is probably not the best use of limit either. But this is a little editor where you can write your own stuff if you want to. If we go back to visualization, we could just jump straight into visualization, and it basically builds you the query to generate this. So let's say we want a line chart. Oh, now it wants to click summarize, and we want a birth date by month. There we go. So it seems like our data has been seeded very consistently. I'm not sure this would be a normal hiring pattern for a company with 100,000 people, but we seem to have 2,000 people born, like a month, born between 1954 and 1964. There we go. Gives you can imagine a different set of data, perhaps having some very old people and a whole lot younger people, perhaps who are getting those small salaries. Yeah, that's right. When are these guys retiring? It's 157 rows. Okay. So this is the sort of thing you can do. And let me just go back to, I think, the first page. Oh, examples. It had, this dashboard was quite pretty when I looked at it. I think this takes a second to build as well. So this has been a little bit more built out than what I'd managed to achieve. But so we've got, you can very easily put these little selection-y widgets in here to change the data that would affect this whole sheet. And your product category and your vendors. So that's quite a fancy dashboard. That is pretty quick to build. I mean, I know I just pressed the button. This is a pre-built demo to sell the thing. So they've obviously shined it and polished it a bit, but you can see this is a pretty useful thing that one of those nasty C-suite people that come and bug you and say, tell me how our sales are doing, they could really love this. So
Using like relational feeds, how do you add context to say, hey, you know, or hey, something?
yep. Yeah, so if you built your database correctly, you know, let's not go down that rabbit hole, but like if you've put relations in here. So when we were back in the other one, databases, salary. I think if we say summarize here, it's down here, because it knows this is an employee ID, and there's a relational link to the employee, you get access to the employee fields, even though you're looking just at the salary table. So you can effectively use these joined fields as part of your query, because underlying because you built your model correctly, and Metabase is able to interrogate all of that and sync up all the stuff into its universe of the understanding what your database has got in it. It does that. Now, if you just build all your tables distinctly, and even though you know in your head that this is an employee ID and there's an employee ID in the employee table, but you haven't put those relational links in, then that'll make it harder for me. Like, you won't get that functionality. But you can, back over here, I think in this models section, you can effectively create models to combine your tables. So it was in that spot, you could tell Metabase, this employees table is related to this salary table, if that makes sense. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Yeah. So you could actually almost like create a view in Metabase, like perhaps add age to the employees table. Oh, this one? Yeah. Yeah, okay, so this is almost creating a view. So maybe what I said was wrong. Maybe you can't put relationships here, but so it's used a join and basically join two tables together and perhaps filtered it, whereas you might present. So then it becomes almost like a security layer, because you could generate a filter, let's say for New South Wales, for sales in New South Wales. The salespeople join to their sales, and then see who the top 5 salespeople are in New South Wales, create that as a model, and then only give access to your New South Wales people access to view that model. Does that make sense? So you could then, so all the WA sales managers can't go and see what those hotshot New South Wales people have been selling. Does that make sense? No, it's not. It's very not PHP. It's like if I can show you the underlying gobbledygog. So this is so yeah. So this is Jetty server. I'm not sure if that's breedable. Probably certainly not at the back. But this is a Java application. But you know, I don't care. It's just a black box that I can run, and it gives me all those pretty charts without me having to write them all. So that's how I see the benefit. And then you can write these once. You can so you can generate these very lovely. So let's see if we can visualize something here quickly. To summarize, count of products done, doing science, and should be able to say somewhere, editor save. save to a, where do you want to save these examples? Yeah, okay, that'll do. Add,
If you make a view, then you can make a copy of it and use the editor to make it SQL.
correct, that's right. Correct, yeah, so I'll just do this step. Say, dashboards. Can I create a new one? A new dashboard, look at that. Nice button. My, what do we call it? We'll call it CG. Create and select. And so that now you've got this query that you've done, and you can basically build up a dashboard. And that example one that we looked at before had a couple of other tabs in it. So you can then add tabs and charts and pretty things, and then add these text bits in here and links and filter parameters. They were the date pickers and things that we saw across the little top. So this is where you can build up your C-suite dashboard, and then give them access to this, and they can't go digging into the SQL or anything like that. Or you can have, this fine-grained, reasonably fine-grained permissions. So you could, obviously have a user or a middle type user that would maybe have access to your models, and then they can use this facility to generate new questions, because they might be a manager that's reasonably intelligent, to generate an answer quickly without coming to annoy you about what you're, for you to go through all that writing custom SQL and whatever. And they can then generate their own stuff, but not necessarily see stuff below the models that you've exposed to them. So it's quite quite extensive. There are obviously enterprisey things that are added in. I've kind of skimmed the surface quite a lot, but I think I've said enough to at least pique your interest, rather than having to write your own analytics solution. Next time the boss comes and says, how many sales have we made? Well, here you go. Any other questions? I'm happy to talk about this for us. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. No, I haven't ever exposed it to a client, but you can. So you can either just have it as, obviously hosted and have it as an internal tool, or you can embed some of these charts that you've written on your website as well. So obviously it has to be able to connect to wherever the Metabase server is. But if you wanted to, correct, yeah, there is a whole, that's go read the documentation kind of stuff and work out how to do it. But it's effectively like putting an iframe in and pointing it to a canonical URL for, say, that little chart there, or yeah, I mean, there's probably a little button, embed this, and it generates a URL, and you whack it on your web page, and away you go. Yeah. I mean, it's very similar to like Power BI or Tableau or those sorts of tools. If you're using the cloud, cloud version, it's probably a little bit cheaper than Tableau, I'd imagine, given that Salesforce now owns them. And I can't imagine that those guys let you out of coughing up lots of money for your Tableau licenses, your Salesforce licenses, your Slack licenses, and your the other one that they do, the API thing, whatever. Anyway, any other questions? It's fun to play with if you like playing with charts, but you've probably actually got lives, so there we go. Thanks very much.
So how would you get started with this? Like, do you recommend going to cloud or?
Cloud. If you can get access from cloud to your database, which you can go through a jump box, so you don't have to expose it. You certainly don't want to be exposing your RDS system out to the public. That's a no-no. Even I know that. Not. But there are ways you can add a jump box in to do that. So that makes, you do get 2 weeks. Just don't spend 2 months paying for it if you're not using it. So you,
That's the thing. Like, say you wanted to explore the functionality, would you just download your database locally? Like, would you recommend that to get started?
if you're learning it, then yeah, just download a Docker container and for a developer.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah. So you just go to GitHub Metabase/Metabase, and you can download the jars from there if you want the Java version, or just download the Docker container. That's as simple as Docker compose up kind of thing. And then you literally go to that screen that we went through, get started, and off you go. There is a whole other, let me just save that. Obviously I created a new user, and there's, I think over here, admin settings. So you go to this whole purple head thing, so you're an admin, and then you can set up all your other users and blah blah blah.
So it's got a link on some sort of foundation model.
Sorry, say that again. No, it's all just, there's no LLM involved. It's clever. Yeah, inspects the schema. Exactly. Yeah, that's right. You could put, I'm surprised that I haven't seen more publicity from them to say, create a natural language query over your Metabase thing, to where you can say, how many sales have we had this month? And it goes, oh yeah, I know what you mean, and goes and makes that query. Yes, that's right. Especially if you're a publicly listed company and you put that in your annual report. Wouldn't that be fun? Lovely. Present to the meeting.